Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to share two clips, and if you guys would like to watch it, I find it quite interesting and a little disturbing to say the least. So, August 9th, 2024, I put out a remote view session regarding Iran. And I talked about this mountain, and I talked about the things I was getting connected to this mountain. And then I heard today that Trump is eyeing this mountain over in Iran. I can't pronounce the name of the mountain, but you'll hear it in the clip. And I'm just like, no way. There's so much I want to say, and there's still things I believe that are unfolding in my remote view session that has not happened yet. But this is the start of what could be happening. So I'm just sharing it. Also, when I put this video out August 9th, 2024, I became very ill August 16th, 17th, and was taken to the hospital, and I had vertigo symptoms, all kinds of things. I had to go have MRIs done, CAT scans, and after 1 year of getting things straightened out, still don't really have a lot of answers, but I find it a little weird because I put this out on the 9th, and then it was like 6 days later I became very ill. And it's probably due to natural causes, but still, it makes one think, right? So I'm going to share Trump's clip first, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit, where he talks about this mountain, and the lady in the media goes over it and shows clips of this mountaintop full of rock in Iran. And so, oh my God, it's crazy. And then I'm going to share my clip. It's a little long, my portion. You can skip through it, but I have to put this out because I feel like this is the start of that remote view session. It could be very significant for what's to come down the line, even though I don't have a time frame for it. It's almost like a new phase. And in 2024, the US and Iran were not in any type of conflict. So let's just get into it.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon if that's okay.
A mysterious underground site deep inside Iran's Zagros mountain range is now US President Donald Trump's latest target. Why? Because it's believed to be either a covert uranium enrichment facility or a secret storage site for near weapons-grade uranium. We are talking about Pickaxe Mountain, which is about 2 kilometers from the Natanz nuclear facility, which was hit with US bunker buster bombs in June last year. Trump revealed that he will probably soon order a strike on the Pickaxe Mountain Iranian nuclear site. Trump said that US has been closely surveying it. Pickaxe Mountain has been identified as one of Iran's newest underground nuclear-related sites. Satellite imagery indicates that construction began in about 2020. Unlike older Iranian facilities, which are more exposed, it appears to be designed around concealment and protection. Satellite pictures have shown extensive excavation and tunnel construction, but the exact purpose of the facility has not been publicly confirmed. Iran has described the facility as a centrifuge assembly plant, but the facility has never been inspected by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Pickaxe is reportedly buried up to 600 meters under granite. A deeply buried facility could provide Iran with a secure location for sensitive nuclear activities and make it harder for any military strike to disable the site. According to the Washington Post, the vast tunnel complex beneath Pickaxe Mountain is believed to be beyond the reach of bunker buster bombs.
The U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities.
Had obliterated Iran's nuclear program. But satellite pictures after the June 2025 strike showed signs of continuing activity at Pickaxe, including expanded security walls, reinforced tunnel entrances, fresh piles of excavated earth, and the presence of heavy construction equipment. These changes could indicate that Iran may be continuing work underground while also strengthening the site against possible future airstrikes. Iran maintains that its nuclear program is peaceful, so the build-up at Pickaxe could instead reflect efforts to preserve or relocate sensitive nuclear activities after the attacks. But the fate of Iran's stockpile of uranium enriched to 60% purity also remains unclear, raising concerns that the material could eventually be moved to an undisclosed underground facility, such as Pickaxe Mountain.
That's what it felt like to me. So, moving on, as I'm in my session, this was a pretty long session. It was pretty long. They took me to a rocky area, high elevation, and it was not in the city by any means. This was up high, I want to say rafters. That's what it looked like in the session itself, but it was actually rocks and hills, and it was, you could look down and see where I had been standing prior, but it was up in a high elevation, and there was these, they are like tunnels. What was inside the tunnels was quite interesting in my session. It was like miniature trains, or maybe a person could get into one of these and drive it. It's like little box cars, and they held things like they could transport, but they weren't really seen from the outside. So you'd have to kind of go in. Like I'm 5'4", so the entranceway to this tunnel, it wasn't underground. It was built in between the rocks, right? It looked like a huge rock, and it looked like somebody had taken their time and dug just enough room for a little train. I don't know. Anyways, the entranceway was about my height, so you'd have to bend down if you're tall to get in, and there's this operating looking train. And it was long because it was like the passenger and driver seat, and then the back would be to transport things. It was like open box cars to put things in. So you couldn't imagine. I know it sounds crazy, but I was being shown like they were transporting, things that weren't, how can I say this without getting just sticker. So now it's like a square triangle, the triangle with the skull on it. Hazard. It was biomaterial, hazard material. Let's just say that. And it would go from one entrance, and then this little railway would go to another city. If I had my video, I could show you the location, but it went from one area to the other, and I feel like the entrance would be near this town, and I'm going to try to spell it. Tehrin, Tehrin. From there to another city, and then whatever was on this train, these biochemicals or whatever, the people that would remove them to transport them to another location would have to wear hammock suits. Like their faces were covered, and they were masked up, and none of their skin was exposed. It was all covered, and they had these goggles on, and there was like 6 men that I saw removing the material from the back of the train, like in the boxcar. They had to go down and get it, and then they took it and transported it to the border. And I feel the border, I believe it was taking me to Syria. It could have been Syria, but it went to a major city. And again, other men, not the same men, other men in this other area covered would have to remove this stuff. But my point is as I'm going through the motions, I'm going through most of Iran, and then I'm going into parts of Syria, possibly Lebanon, but then there's a stop. Okay, the closest point to the border of Israel. Okay, so it's not going in Israel, but it's like maybe 15, 20 miles back. They were able to do this through these underground, well, they're not even underground, guys. They're up high. It's so crazy. You know, like if you're going to a gold mine or a coal mine, you know, there's little box cars and they load them up with coal and then they push them through. It's like that, but bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And two people would operate like a train. It's like between a train and a coal mine bucket, I guess would be the best way to put it. It's so weird. But it concerns me because as I'm smelling the bleach, and I'm cleaning, I went right back into that old session, you know, remembering it. And then the only significance today was I felt like it could, in the future, be connected to Israel, and not in a good way, right? Not in a good way, because the triangle with the skeleton face, you know, hazard, is so these were definitely, they were in these metal, I want to say a metal tomb almost, but they were like metal, round metal. There was something in them. And I feel like once they were able to transport this stuff, okay, they could do it and not be seen through the tunnels. I don't know, whoever came up with that idea, you can imagine the time and the work and the effort that they put in digging the rock to make a center. I can't imagine how they did that. This goes through big cities, big ports, and then they're limited. They're not able to transport. Once things get into, say, another country, it can't be hidden. It has, because they don't have the rock or the material to run this little. It was 3 stops. The first stop was at the border, and I believe this was that's when things had to be transported through another means, and it wasn't hidden. So that's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what this means. I'm sitting here just rambling, and I probably won't even upload this. You know, it's not factual. What I'm stating to you is not factual, and if there was something to transpire, let's just say chemical, you know, that was going to be used. When I see things like this, what I always say is I don't like to fear bait. I say it's possible. I'm not going to say it's probable, because this would be very serious, because it would be escalation. It would bring harm in some way, to some capacity. If this transpired, it would be very bad. It would be so bad that we could see a new front of this conflict open up, and it would bring in other countries, is what I'm saying. We want peace, right? We want to pray for peace. We want to pray for a resolution, but sometimes you have to fight out this battle. And scared me. Okay, you have to fight out this battle, and it has to end. There has to be an ending before a rebirth. And unfortunately, many lives sometimes are at stake in these situations. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here.